our democracy. Access to the ballot box. And just as important as that is the lack of access to the ballot box. For far too long, I believe our state has left behind so many people who deserve to have their voices heard when it comes to being a part of the democracy that we all appreciate and that we all participate in. Because of the mistakes that those individuals have made in the past, they have been left out. I'm talking to the tune of approximately 60,000 Missourians that have been left out of the political process. We're talking about individuals who wake up every morning, who go to work, who pays their taxes, and still yet they have no say when it comes to representation. And in my opinion, taxes without representation. And enough is enough. And that's why today we stand for each and every one of you, letting you all know that we are here to fight on behalf of those individuals that cannot fight for themselves. And that's why we are going to pass Senate Bill 542. Now, approximately 18 states throughout this country have already stepped up to the plate and taken the initiative to do what is right, and that is to allow for men and women who have made mistakes in the past, who have had second chances to go out and obtain employment, but they haven't had a second chance to go to the poll and be equal to every last one of us here in this room. Because that's the only time that we are equal. The only time that we are equal is when we have the opportunity to go to the poll. And all of us have one vote. And so when it comes to democracy, we're going to start right here in this building. We're going to start by helping those individuals who want to have a seat at the table when it comes to the policies that's impacting their quality of life. Again, these men and women, they have paid their debt to society. But when it's time for them to go and let their voice be heard, their voices are silent. And so, I'd like to thank ACLU for stepping up to the plate, advocating, and advocating this bill passed. I can tell you that we here in the committee, sometime by next week, I'm still with my votes. Right now, I have one more vote to obtain before we can get it out of the committee. We're going to need 4 votes to get it out of the committee onto the floor. I am confident that that will happen, but I do it without advocates like each and every one of you. MCU, I would like you all for bringing it to my attention that this is what needs to happen. The conversations that we had over the summer really energized me to take this initiative and run with it. I will have this legislation being that this is the last year here, and I'm confident we work hard, extremely hard to get this bill passed. Again, it's not going to be easy because individuals think that that is a punishment you pay when you commit a crime. And I tell my colleagues that they have already paid their debt to society. This is about taxation without representation. And we saw it before during the Boston Tea Party, and we see it here today in the state of Missouri. And we'll do something about it. Again, thank each and every one of you for being here. I will now turn it over to my colleague on the House side who has a companion bill, and that is none other than Representative Rasheen Aldridge.
Yay.
Thank you.
How everybody doing today?
All right.
I like to hear that. For those who do not know me, my name is Rasheen Aldridge. I am the state representative of the 78th District, which is also very diverse, like the 5th Senatorial District. I take in areas such as St. Louis Place, Car Square neighborhood, as we continue to go south. All of downtown as well, home of the Stanley Cup in the 78th District. As continue to go further south, Bend, Arcadia, a very diverse ward. And that is a reason why I love to serve the district that I serve. Today we're here to talk about something that's truly important. Something that is need to change as soon as possible. We're here talking about restoring the voting rights to 60,000 individuals. It is time that we unlock the vote for so many people in our city, in our state, that says they want to do better. They have paid their debt to society. They're now out. Like the senator said, they're working, trying to work a livable wage job, putting their kids in school, taking them, walking them back and forth to school, being a positive individual in society, but the reality is the state is still telling them that their voice does not matter when it comes to voting. You have an individual that has came out trying to turn their life around, but we are not officially supporting them in a way of them feeling comfortable enough to say, I am part of my community. We're talking about having a voice on your local elections all the way from school board. We have individuals that are coming out of probation and parole that are fathers and mothers, kids are in schools, and they want to have a voice in the way their kids' school is going, but they can't. We have individuals that are coming out that want to have a voice on their local board of aldermen and council races, individuals that make decisions on the way that they live on a day-to-day basis, but we are telling them, no, that your voice does not matter. We have individuals that come out that are trying to make sure that their voice is heard on the state level, that regulates how they're paying taxes, where money goes into on their day-to-day life. But once again, we're telling them that their voice does not matter. We have individuals, 60,000 potential that could be coming out, want a voice on the national level, when we have a president that is constantly telling them that their voice does not matter, that their race does not matter, and the way that they live on a day-to-day basis does not matter. It is an honor to be working with Senator Jamilah Nasheed as she's trying to get her Senate bill. Very confident she's going to get it done. And on the House side, working on HB 17 that would also unlock the vote for 60,000 individuals across the state. Like the Senator said, we have states such as Texas, Tennessee, Kentucky, 18 to 19 other states that have already said, you know what, these individuals made a bad decision. They did their time, and they're trying to change their life around. And we're going to grant them the ability to be able to have a voice in their community, to have a voice in their local politics, to have a voice in their state politics, to have a voice in their national politics. Politics is something that on an everyday basis governs us and helps us be able to figure out if we're going left or we're going right, how much money we're going to have in our pocket on a day-to-day basis. I want to tell you one quick story. I remember back in 2016 when I was running for committee man and my predecessor, Bruce Franks, was running for state representative. He was knocking on doors in Car Square community, which represents the 78th District, and we ran into a young man named Mike. Mike had just recently got out. He was involved in the neighborhood. He was going to community meetings, and he was so excited to hear that two young men were running for office trying to make a difference in their neighborhood. But then during conversation, as we later continued to talk, figured out that Mike wasn't able to vote because it just came out on paper. But he was so excited to be able to vote for either me or Bruce, but wasn't able to because the system said that his voice does not matter. It is time that Missouri continues to be a state, as we say, the show me state, and show the rest of the nation that we are ready to join the movement to unlock the vote for 60,000 individuals across the state of Missouri. I want to thank MCU and also ACLU for being great community partners and pushing to make sure that everybody across the state of Missouri is heard. This is one of the most important democracy processes that we currently have. Being able to go out and say, I want to have this alderperson, or I want to have this state representative elected because he cares about my values, or she cares about my values. She cares about my kids' education and future. They're going to put more money in my pocket so I can make sure that my child has food on the table. And what we are currently doing, we're turning those people away and making the black sheep of our family, the black sheep of our community, and saying, we want your taxes, We want you to be a productive individual in the community, but we don't want your voice to be heard, and that's not right. And it's time we do something different. It's time that Missouri, and it's time that all our colleagues on the state, on the House side and the Senate side understand that Missouri needs to be the next state to unlock the vote for 60,000 individuals. That is historic. 60,000 individuals that will be coming out, being able to vote and have a voice in their community.
If I may add, make no mistake about it, this is not a Republican or Democratic issue. To me, this is a human rights issue.
Absolutely.
And we're talking about individuals again, and I cannot say it enough, individuals that have made mistakes in the past, and they're out now. However, they have a 15-year backup on probation or parole. Now, you're talking individuals that they will not be able to vote for the next 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 years because of their parole or probation status. Those individuals, again, are still paying taxes. And so I just want to make that clear that this is not a Republican or a Democrat issue. This is a human rights issue. And just in Louisiana, the Republicans control the House, they control the Senate, and they were the ones that initiated unlocking the vote, and the Democrat governor signed it into law. So that's what we're looking for here in the state of Missouri. We're looking for the state of Missouri to follow the lead when it comes to the legislation that Louisiana passed. And that's what I want to say. Next, we have the young man here. He can tell you the story about from where he comes when it comes to not having an opportunity to vote.
My name is Charlie Gentry. In 2016, I voted in the primary preliminary election. It didn't really matter who I voted for. But unfortunately, that opportunity was taken away from me. And I told November of that year. When November came around, I saw a president that had done a lot of things about women, about how he felt about the community. Now he's trying to take away food and free lunch. That impacts me today. Today I'm off parole, and I'm active in my community. But everybody doesn't get the opportunity to do that. And the reason why they don't get to do that is because they don't feel part of the community. They didn't feel a part of the community. I didn't feel a part of the community when I was taken away to be able to vote on issues that I actually cared about, such as free education, cleaner neighborhoods, education for different school boards. So it's very important that we are able to get back in the community and be a part of it. It's very important that our voices be heard. There's 60,000 people right now that cannot vote. It's currently on probation for parole. Those people deserve to be heard. They have something to say, and as we had expressed earlier today, they pay taxes. So.
Okay. Now this young man, he's not able to vote. He works extremely hard in the neighborhood. He goes to all the neighborhood meetings. He's active in his community. He goes to the award meetings, and he cannot vote.
Hi, everybody. My name is Giles Chapman. Yeah, I've been in the system since I was a juvenile, and spent a lot of time in prison, then trying to get out and readjust to society. And one of the rights to vote was a kind of thing that you kind of look forward to when you're in prison. You get out and be able to participate in the political process. You know, you get a job paying your taxes, you want to support your family, and it can take you to a different direction when you feel like you ain't been included and you've been ostracized out of something that's so important as democracy. So I continue to do what I do with EXPO, which is ex-prisoners, people, ex-incarcerated people organizing along with MCU and ACLU to try to get guys to come out that they have the opportunity to be able to go vote in their elections in their communities, on the state level and the federal level. So, but it's really been impactful for me, you know, where it kind of knocks you down. You don't really get to really feel like you're a whole citizen. You know, you don't really get to feel like you're a whole citizen when you vote.
So can you vote now?
No, I can't vote because I'm still on parole.
How long have you been on parole?
I got life, so
Life.
yeah.
So you have life probation?
Life on parole. And if I continue to do it, I'll get off it, then I'll be able to get a chance to vote. But when you're in a society such as this here, when all the chips can sometimes be stacked against you or in your own mind, you build up as you've been incarcerated for so long that you feel like you're not being included. And voting makes you really feel like you're included because you're able to pick somebody to be a particular position in your community or on the state or federal level. But when you don't have that, then you kind of like, you just like, you don't really exist, just like shoved to the curb. But it gives you self-confidence, gives you a sense of pride, you know what I'm saying, to say, oh, I helped put him in office, And that's a good feeling, It's like winning the football game, So I'm just looking forward to this bill get passed, and I'm pushing as far as I can, as hard as I can, and I think Jamilah, Nasheed, and Representative, my man. Hopefully you be senator, you don't know, we might be mayor, so I can change that up. But I'm just so happy to be a part of this process, and just being here changes a person who's been incarcerated to be a part of a political movement, a part of the movements and organization. It's just inspirational, you know what I'm saying? You just don't understand, and it just changed your whole direction in your life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To the Honorable Senator and Representative, I am W. Taft Harris Jr., and I'm here representing EXPO Missouri. Every person in the 60,000 is an announcement that I want to make to you. You have the right not to remain silent, particularly in this issue. EXPO Missouri, Ex-Incarcerated People Organizing, is a project of MCU. EXPO lives to combine practical knowledge and power and personal experience to advocate for change in our criminal justice system. I have been a part of that system. And coming out of that system, you would think that because you have education, you have family, you possibly have job security, that a thing like a vote really wouldn't matter to you. And then you realize that you can affect no real change in your community without the power to have a vote. And so what this does from the person who has been an ex-offender cannot vote, it alienates them and puts them in a place where they are not actively involved in the community, and thereby becomes a proponent of recidivism. But any statistics will show you that a person who is engaged in the community is least likely to go back into the system again. And we say to every representative, to every person who is in the Senate, that you also have the right to not remain silent on this issue. All of us have been guaranteed by our living Constitution the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we are here today in the pursuit of life, happiness, and part of that is our ability to get back into the democratic process where our voices can be heard. I say on behalf of 60,000 persons in the system now in Missouri, like those persons did back in Memphis in the 1960s when they marched for sanitation. I ask the same question. Am I not a man? Are we not humans?
Yeah.
If we are, this is the fight of a legacy. This is the battle that we must fight now. You, everyone listening and watching, you have the right not to remain silent.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sarah Baker. I'm the policy director with the ACLU of Missouri. I want to thank my representative and my senator for introducing this incredibly important piece of legislation. Every year, over 2,000 pieces of legislation are introduced throughout the Missouri House and Missouri Senate. Critical pieces of information that can change your life at the daily level. They can make it harder for you to get off papers. They can make it impossible or push forward criminal justice reform, and they can restrict or expand the right to vote. The fact that we have kept 60,000 Missouri is voiceless in this process is a deep injustice, a wound that we need to fix in this state. Instead, Missouri has year after year gone with approaches to make accessing the ballot box harder. That's a shame. That does not move us forward. From measures like voter ID to instilling new fees that make it harder for individuals to get the background documents they need in order to get an identification, our state has taken every step that they can to make it harder to vote. That's not democratic. That's not how we want to live. That's not how we're going to go forward. Because we have measures like this to expand the vote, get 60,000 people back in the process, voting on legislation, voting for representatives that vote on legislation that affects every aspect of their life. So much of what we've tried to do in the past year in Missouri is focused on criminal justice reform. Who better to inform criminal justice reform than folks who have gone through the injustice of our current system?
Yeah.
It is the individuals behind me and the 60,000 people that we're talking about today that need to be included so that those voices are heard. When the senator says that this isn't a right or left issue, she couldn't be more correct. This is a civil liberties issue, and it's one that we have to fix in Missouri going forward. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Reverend Dr. Vice Baker. I'm the organizer of the Break the Pipeline campaign for Metropolitan Congregations United. And this is the end, and this is simple. We have a moral imperative. We've already heard the human imperative. We already heard from folks who are being impacted, 60,000 folks in our country, in our state that are being impacted by this issue. I'm here as one of the preachers, as one of the people who represent congregations that organize and support people in our community to say that we have a moral imperative to get this under control. So let me just say a story. I told my son last night, we were reading a book about Bert and Ernie, and the book, it was a beautiful book about there being no life in the desert. And as we read the book began to describe that there were animals and all kinds of things that lived in the desert. And I want us to hear this in the state of Missouri. I believe that about this building. I believe it about the people who have formerly been incarcerated. You might look at people and say, they made a mistake, let's throw away the key, we're finished with them, too bad, they lost their right to vote. But as a person of faith, we cannot throw people away. I speak to the moral heart and fiber of those who sit in the seats in this building, that our value imperative says we can't throw people away, that we have to be inclusive. We have to stand with and for people so that they will have equal representation and equal rights. So let's get this done. Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Representative.
You have any questions? Thank you. And, this is an easy fix. And I just want to say to each and every one of you that's here that be willing, ready, and able to roll up your sleeves and help get this past the finish line, across the finish line. We have talked to my colleagues that is on the committee. Again, we only need one more vote to get it out of committee, and I am confident that I'll be speaking with one of my colleagues to get that yes vote. Again, thank you all for being here.
Senator, what's your sense of the support on the floor?
On the floor, it's going to take me being able to touch the hearts and the minds of my colleagues by way of persuasion, and that's usually what it takes. I believe that individuals may have a little heartburn because they feel like they're being soft on crime, but if I can convince them as to why this will be better for the state of Missouri in terms of individuals having the right to exercise their civic duties, and to be able to show them that, again, this is not a Republican or Democrat, because as I said earlier, Louisiana just did it, and it's pushed and is initiated by the Republican Party.
And Representative, do you feel the same way about this?
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing that the senator said, her bill is a little further along, but the big thing that the senator said, this isn't, and being a new representative, that's made me very happy being in this building. I met a lot of representatives on the other side of the Republican Party that's willing to actually work on simple legislation. This legislation that we're proposing in the Senate side and on the House side has nothing to do with party. This is about restoring the vote to both sides, honestly. There's individuals that are on probation and parole that will probably vote Democrat and Republican, but we're not worrying about what party they'll vote for. We're concerned about making sure they have a voice in their community. If they stay in St. Louis, if they stay in Missouri, if they stay in Northeast Missouri, they should still have a voice in the way that they want to live on a regular day.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.